This is one carry variation that every trainer and therapist should use in order to improve thoracic rotation and hip mobility. Hi, I'm Alex Zephyr, founder of Brazilian Training and Rehab, and I've helped thousands of trainers and therapists from around the world get faster and more consistent results with their clients. Let's get into it. So when it comes to carries, there are many variations I like to use with my clients, but I really like using this offset carry because not only does it help improve with thoracic rotation, it improves with hip mobility, and it also improves with ankle mobility. So what I want to do is cover from the ground up what this exercise does, and then how we can use it depending on who we're working with. When I'm holding the kettlebell in the suitcase position, what that is going to do is it's going to automatically put more weight on the outside of the foot because everything is going to be pulling me to the outside of this foot. So what I have to do automatically is put more pressure on the inside of the foot just to be able to counteract that. And that's going to create a little bit more pronation. So now every time I hit the ground, I'm going to be hitting the ground with a lot more weight on this right side compared to the left. That just means that every time I'm propelling myself towards the left, I really have to extend my hip, put force into the ground, and really turn towards this left side. And that is going to facilitate more of this foot pronation, which essentially just means that the arch is going down towards the ground. And with basic gait mechanics, we want to be considering that with the right foot pronates, we want left thoracic rotation. When the right foot is going in towards the ground, the left back should open so I can turn into it. Because I don't want to overly pronate my foot where I'm then kind of like rotating out towards the outside edge of the left foot. I want to be able to push on the outside of the foot so I'm able to turn into that rib cage without kind of spilling out on the outside of that left foot. So right foot pronation is very important, and that suitcase is really going to help facilitate that pronation. All the way up the chain, if we have the pronation, we're also going to get the hip to internally rotate. And that's going to allow me to start to prepare for extending my hip, which is going to push me towards the other side. When I'm holding the kettlebell in the left arm, in this rack position, that's actually going to open up that left upper rib cage, that left posterior rib cage. It's going to separate the scapula from the spine, and that is really important to allow me to rotate into that side. So by holding the kettlebell on the right side, holding the kettlebell on the left, now when I'm pronating this right foot because of this suitcase, I now have somewhere to rotate into because I've opened up my back with this left rack position. So not only am I creating this foot mobility and hip mobility on the right side, but I'm also creating the shoulder mobility and this thoracic rotation because this rack position and opening up my rib cage is going to improve my ability to externally rotate my shoulder, flex my shoulder, but the same thing at my hip. Flex and externally rotate my hip. And so every time I'm taking a step, I'm always creating this rotation towards the left side, which is really great for people who shift in their squat when they shift towards the right in their squat and they can't get into that left hip. Somebody who has a hard time rotating towards the left, maybe they've got less shoulder mobility and hip mobility on that left side. I like to use this variation in order to facilitate those kind of biomechanical movements. There's not much cueing that goes involved in this exercise. It's pretty easy because where the kettlebells are placed are creating this constraint that's automatically going to force these movements. My body has to organize itself in order to not fall over because this kettlebell is pulling me over there, so I have to almost side bend on the left side. Then this kettlebell is going to pull me out there, so I have to almost shift back just to be able to counter rotate that. So I have all these things happening underlying. But one of the main cues that I give to my clients is instead of having the elbow down here, what I want you to do is grab onto the top part of the kettlebell, turn it in towards your chest a little bit. Then what I want you to do is reach your elbow away from your body. That's going to open up your back. That's going to keep that upper back open. And then when you're walking, just think about walking with a little bit of speed. Don't walk super slow motion, but walk just a little bit faster, because that's just going to cause this kettlebell to relatively swing a little bit versus just walking super slow motion, and these mechanics really aren't happening. So walk with a little bit of a faster pace, turn the kettlebell towards you, reach the elbow, and then you should be in a good spot to perform this movement.